pusher propeller, 15-inch diameter, 7-inch pitch. That's how it's specified. It's in imperial, so you have to do the conversion. It only costs about $16. Because it's pusher, it allows it to rotate in the correct direction and produce thrust. If you look into this, you'll find that all gas propellers, which would have been the other alternative, need to go in the opposite direction. And so that's a nice thing about these. They come in pusher and tractor design. In addition, they have an extremely efficient asymmetrical airfoil, which makes them very efficient in the water. And if you decided that the only thing you want to take from this project is this idea, and no matter how small or large your trolling motor, I would get that particular propeller. It's a glass fiber reinforced nylon. It's waterproof and it's very tough. And if your trolling motor isn't capable of driving such a large propeller, simply trim the diameter down so that you maintain the thick web and the 3 blades divide the load rather than getting some lightweight park flyer propeller that's going to bend and twist under the load of driving the boat. This brings up the issue of power. These motors are 24 volts and each one will draw about 1,300 watts. And so in order to be able to move this boat any kind of reasonable distance, you're going to need 2 pretty good size deep cycle batteries per motor. 4 batteries of that size are going to weigh as much as the entire boat. And so, thanks to Elon Musk, we decided to do something a little different. So here we have a single module from a Tesla S. There are 16 of these in the car, and each one of these modules contains 444 of the 18650 Panasonic cells set up an array of 6S. 6S meaning it's 24 volts, which is convenient for our motors. In addition to that, it has the ability to be charged by a typical standard RC charger that can charge 6S. The system comes with a battery management system that normally plugs into the computer system for a Tesla. You can tear that off and simply pigtail the 7 leads necessary to be able to remote that, and therefore you can use a standard battery monitor system that is used for RC applications, allows you to measure the voltage of the battery when you're operating it. In addition, this can then be unplugged and put into a typical RC battery charger in order to be able to balance charge the battery. Each one of the cells in here has been wired into the apparatus, into the system, with very tiny lead wires that actually act as simultaneously as fuses. So if any one of these individual cells were to go haywire, blow out, it would not destroy the entire battery. It would simply blow out its tiny little fuse and you would lose a tiny bit of the capacity of the battery, but the battery itself would be completely usable. In addition, at this end of the battery, we had to blow out and clean out and seal up the cooling tubes that run through here that in a normal Tesla would allow this battery to be cooled and warm to keep within a normal temperature range or an optimal temperature range. For the very gentle use that we're going to be putting this battery to, we're not concerned about heating during charging or discharging. This battery can produce up to 1,500 amps continuously. At most, we would draw 100 out of it. As you can see, at this end of the battery, we have these very heavy 6-gauge cables that are then attached to the 2 leads that come out, one for each of the motors, through waterproof fittings. And the entire thing has been placed in a waterproof cell so that we can see what's going on in here, but water can't get inside. The top surface has been gasketed down, held down. This entire structure is not light, but it is remarkably powerful. This single battery here costs about $1,000 on eBay. And that might sound high, but 4 good quality deep cycle lead acid batteries are going to probably cost you about $600. In addition, the capacity of this single module is 5.3 kilowatt hours. 4 lead acid batteries would not even be able to produce that much power. It would take 6 lead acid batteries to be able to produce the same amount of total usable capacity as this one module, and this module weighs less than a single battery. It also has more cycle life, and because of its compact nature, it allows us to mount this thing underneath the deck, as I'll show you in just a bit, but it makes it also easier for us to get this in and out rather than having to dump this into the hulls. So let me show you how this fits together, and we'll run this thing up.
Let it get into that too much. Again, if the wind keeps pushing at us, we're not going to be able to hold it. So we'll look for some of the other roads down below us that you were in your map. Then we just got to have a pretty good
4936 location.
There's an horn, Charles, Nora, Zebra 8710.
The last character, 871.
Send them on their way. If you want to
8710. We'll be pulling into the stripe.
Listen, Horn pulling into the stripe, 10-4.
So forward, reverse, and left and right. And so because we can control the thrust on these motors, forward and back, left and right, we don't have to articulate these motors in order to turn, which keeps the operation a lot simpler. Now, anybody familiar with boat design might realize that the speed of this boat, which is a displacement boat, typically is limited by a property called hull speed. And it has to do with the density of water and gravity. And effectively, it is the speed limit beyond which the hull no longer efficiently travels through the water, because the water is simply unable to fill the void left behind the boat, and it starts to produce a bow wave that creates a great deal of acceleration, because the water simply doesn't have time to move around the hull in a steady laminar flow. That speed is often designated by an equation which is in knots, 1.34 times the square root of the waterline length in feet, or 2.4 times the square root of the waterline in meters. This is a 16-foot hull. Square root of 16 is 4. 1.34 times 4 is about 5.4 knots. So you might be wondering, why do we want a propeller that allows a boat like this to be able to travel at 3 or 4 times the hull speed? And I'm going to answer that question in just a second. I'd like to make a little appeal. A short time ago, we decided to take this channel from a few hundred subscribers and several videos for laser enthusiasts to cover a much broader range of technologies and the variety of projects that we have been involved with over the years. And in less than 2 years, we've expanded to nearly 300,000 subscribers. Because of that success, and because it's so much fun doing these projects, and even more fun, it's a blast to share what we've been doing with all of you. We've decided to take the next step and go from a part-time weekend and evening activity to a full-time project. And that kind of commitment is going to mean that we're going to get better video skills involved, we're going to get better video equipment, and more importantly, we're going to expand the content. We're going to cover big projects like this, as well as more frequent videos that cover smaller, useful topics, like how do you glass a hull, or how do you steam bend oak, how do you do resin infusion, how do you vacuum bag, when do you use Kevlar, when do you use graphite. Even if you don't want to build one of these big projects, you might find some of those technical videos very useful and kind of interesting. And to justify that kind of commitment on our part, we need your help. And I don't mean direct financial help. If you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up. And if you spend a few more seconds, if you can give us a comment, even if it's something as simple as, hey, I like the video, or I hope you can swim, that triggers the YouTube algorithms to promote us or to place us on the recommended list, which expands our exposure to a much wider audience and helps us to grow. Even more importantly, if you share what we're doing, either with other content creators, forums that you visit, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Gab, on Reddit, family picnics, PTA meetings, even graffiti at your favorite train station.
It's going to be 2 female.
Just kidding, you don't want to be facing the property.
Upstairs in the girls' bathroom.
But that kind of support, that kind of exposure, will hopefully expand this channel to the point that we can target several million subscribers. In return, we will continue to try to provide better content and more frequent content. And before I leave you, I'd like to answer the question that I posed before. Why do we have high-speed propellers on a boat that shouldn't be able to go more than 3 or 4, maybe 5 knots? This is a hydrofoil. You see why I might just want to subscribe? Thanks a lot for watching. You have a wonderful afternoon. And see you soon.
Charlie 120 in the area.
10-4, Charlie 120, 10-4. 321. Now, clear for me.
You can show us clear from the call, back in service, no EMS needed. PD is going to be taken suspect.
21, 10-4.
71 4.
Service received.
2 lifetimes.
1356.
30 Charlie training.
4 base, thank you, you too.
Price boat's going to Alhambra.
Pulled over, it's going to get impounded. He needs to come over here and help her pick up some property. It's at Lazy Lane and Bronner.
340 line again.
Yeah, man.
Stop around 1224 here on Waldron Road by one of our
30 Charlie Task Force
where I got a citizen here who's wanting to pick up a car that they arrested a female.
Hey, you guys passed through the gate yet with the flag in it all? Yeah, from
ID 4551.
mile back, maybe a little more.
Can you go to info to get that information?
So, there's a couple of Type 6s up. I'm out of service, sir. Grab your left. You see those guys up there?
Thank you, sir.
And we passed a couple of Type 6s.
Medic 6, Medic 6 for Thomas Fall, 5901 Weber, 5901 Weber at the Marbella Apartments. Probably 4206, 4206.
Another gate.
Call by Lighthouse System, could be for a female patient.
140 and 230.
So, complaint of pain.
It's going to be with a 46-year-old granddaughter,
Start working your way down.
a white female, 5'2".
Some dozers doing some work.
She's going to be
up there.
QID.
And maybe 11.
6 copy.
Up there. I'm not sure where they're at, but there's a spot down here.
280 down there, 260.
260.
Thanks for that. We'll keep working our way on.
As ID 9168 somewhere, I don't. Can you log in? I'm able to log on as Bravo 210.
ETA of 2030.
Go ahead and try it now.
180 clear.
Still 218, 2-4.
No, it's Matt. I saw a call pending you got over there. Yeah, the call taker just let me know that somebody over there is calling insisting for me to go there. It's a friend of mine's 36 ex-wife, just to let you know. She's like bipolar deluxe. I've been calling over here on my side. Oh, okay, cool.
42.
Yeah, in case my name comes up.
Can you give me that pickup they gave me for ladies?
At 602 North Staples, the Waco Street side.
Careful. Go ahead. 29, sit down. First one is going to be Hernandez. First name Henry, 102694. Last name Chavez. First name Michael, 91974.
I'm sorry, Michael Chavez, and what's the date of birth?
91974.
1234.
Medic 71 and quarters.
Yeah,
Careful.
Mike, 228. I think you're trying to find
Medic 6 to bad 3.
Alright, yeah, for some reason he thought it was at Waldron, so that's why he's over here. But I'll send him over there.
Yeah, I thought that started.
Leave me on mobile.
Yeah, boy, thanks, man.
Rack up.
That's the subject we've been trying to identify from a burglary.
I already put you on their call.
Okay, thank you very much.
320, somewhere around the memorial with one adult female starting miles point 2.
So Memorial, .2, adult female, portion 03.
5333 Everhart, 5333 Everhart, Richard Milburn Academy. It's going to be 2 females that were fighting in the upstairs restroom. PD is on scene, advising there's a juvenile female with scrapes all over her.
Affirmative.
Yeah, because I know I don't trust it. I don't have the office.
Got it. Let me know when you get back.
28.3 at 1404.
Will do.
Getting a call for a commercial fire line.
Out here, just make sure we don't get any more spots.
I'll show you clear quarters.
I have you on it. Still parked over there?
I'll go check it out.
And you're going to take 2015? That was supposed to be for Route 18.
Well, if 2016's over there, I'll take it. I just don't know if it's over there.
Go ahead and take 2015. Route 18, what unit did you take? 35? Roger.
Here, Richard, Zebra 9831, 77, encounter at 18.
5 to report to the shop.
10-4, Battalion 3 is going to be out of service, but you need engine 5 to the shop. Engine 17 is in quarters. 17 in quarters. Engine 5. Say something.
Delta 170, Delta 180 for man after vehicle at Donut World, 2317 Air Street. 5, the last Nissan Frontier occupied by a female driver.
I was out there for a little bit,
Over
and
at the wheel.
I've been trying to get her since 14:02, and the cars don't pay attention. They're coming too fast, so I have to take off. Okay, 10-4. What are your no-show times? 14:02, 14:08.
That's 17180. They advised that she was at the intersection. Now she pulled into the parking lot at the donut hole. She's parked over at the wheel once again.
Dude, chief, copy.
Dry Creek.
Pickle, copy.
Obviously, 489.
Yeah.
For my,
48987 Victor 964.
Rank 4058. She said she's at the airport?
Delta 16.
Oh, yeah, I can say no. 1402 Ocean. Turns to be good numbers.
1030.
I know 1400 is Orlando, and next to that is Hope.
Adam 350. I'm en route to CDC for a blood warrant. No one to Delta.
Definitely.
I show it in the video. I'll leave it over.
Across the Vineyard Road in Glen
Hey, if I'm gonna pass by there one more time and she's outside, I'll stop. Do you want me to make it the same day? If she's out, I'm gonna keep on going. Go ahead and check, please. I have it.
Awaken alert, just looking for directions. 10-4, Delta 1.
10-4, you're welcome. You want me to cancel it? I haven't no-showed it, so if you find her, go ahead and use the same trip. Yeah, you see, she's not even out here. Okay.
On 220 clear. What? 10-4.
Using a mobile.
10-4.
On the warrant.
10-4. Thank you.
Delta 1-8, 10-4.
10-4, ma'am. Thank you anyway.
Dozer 1.
I already took them off your route.
Coming on to Bravo. Give an
I'll give it to you whenever you come back to the yard.
10-4, and you said cancel just
Road 26 and 35 on
Yes,
John
transfer
Charles
that. What's the
Sam
request?
6075.
Take her. 10-9. Going to a different address. She's going to 5502 Crossgate.
On John Charles Sam,
Individual.
60375.
Engine 1472. Do you need help with the smoke treatment?
18, engine 6, engine
To the
7,
Marina
engine
Del
8,
Sol.
ladder 7.
She's walking out to the
14
parking lot where the
medic 8, is that where my
motorcycle
engine 1
opens
engine
the
18,
parking
engine
lot
6, engine
on the
7,
other
engine
side
8,
of Cope
ladder
Park where the
7, medic
amphitheater
14,
is.
medic 8, rescue 3. Large commercial structure fire, 3602 Panama, 3602 Panama, Castores Elementary School.
Just from the
There'd be an
intersection.
odor of smoke in the art room. Pulled a fire alarm at the school. Building being evacuated, calls to being updated. Work off group 7, 14, 15.
18 copy. Rescue 3 copy.
AET was advised. They still haven't responded.
That's somebody else. I'm from the house. I see right there. The bike guy's got all this stuff. I think